Do Muslim countries prefer China over the West? It's a provocative question, and the answer isn't black and white. But what we're seeing across the Muslim world today is a noticeable shift. More cooperation, more alignment, and more interest in China, sometimes at the expense of traditional Western allies. But why is this happening? And does preference really mean trust, or just strategic calculation? Let's unpack it. First, there's the obvious. China shows up with money, not lectures. For many Muslim countries, especially those facing economic challenges or needing major infrastructure, China is a dream partner. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, it offers roads, ports, railways, and power plants, often with few strings attached. There are no lectures on democracy, no conditions tied to human rights, and no media campaigns pressuring leaders to reform. Just investment, fast execution, and business. Compare that to many Western countries, where aid and cooperation often come with political expectations, demands for transparency, freedom of expression, or democratic accountability. For some governments, especially authoritarian ones, that's a red flag. China, on the other hand, says, "We don't care how you run your country, as long as we can do business." That alone is a strong reason why many Muslim nations appear to prefer China. Second, there's geopolitical fatigue with the West. After decades of military interventions, drone strikes, and controversial foreign policies, especially in the Middle East, many Muslim countries feel burned. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. These are wounds still felt deeply across the Islamic world. And even in non-conflict zones, there's a perception that Western governments often treat Muslim nations as problems to solve rather than partners to respect. China, by contrast, doesn't carry that baggage. It presents itself as a neutral player, not tied to colonial history or military occupation. And while that image isn't always accurate, it's still powerful, especially when backed by billions in investment. Third, there's the rise of multipolar diplomacy. Muslim countries today aren't choosing between the West and China. They're playing both sides. Saudi Arabia, for example, is strengthening ties with Beijing, selling oil in yuan, and inviting Chinese firms to develop mega projects. But it's also still working closely with Washington. The UAE buys tech from China, but American weapons too. Indonesia welcomes Chinese investment while cooperating with the US on security. This isn't loyalty. It's leverage. By building relationships with both powers, Muslim countries increase their global influence, reduce dependence on any one partner, and gain bargaining power on the world stage. In this sense, preferring China isn't about values, it's about options. But there's a catch. Public opinion in many Muslim nations still favors the West in terms of education, lifestyle, and individual freedoms. Many students still dream of studying in the US or Europe. Western media, fashion, and culture remain highly influential, and despite frustrations with foreign policy, there's still a strong emotional and historical link to the West, especially among younger generations. Meanwhile, concerns about China's treatment of Muslims, particularly the Uyghurs, do not go unnoticed. Even when governments stay silent, many citizens express outrage, call for boycotts, and share stories on social media. So, while political elites may move toward Beijing, the hearts of the people may not follow as easily. So, do Muslim countries prefer China over the West? At the leadership level, many are leaning toward China for economic and strategic reasons. But on the ground, public sentiment is more nuanced. It's not about choosing a side. It's about navigating a new world where power is shifting, and every move is about survival, influence, and independence. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe and follow for more thoughtful takes on the world's shifting alliances. And let us know in the comments. If you were leading a country today, would you lean toward China, the West, or carve your own path entirely? Let's talk.